The Sony Xperia XZ Premium is the most beautiful yet bold looking smartphone ever, at least in my opinion. This smartphone once was the dream of every tech enthusiast back then. But trying to use it in 2024, where smartphones comes with high refresh rate, edge-to-edge OLED displays, multiple cameras and newer software, does it still holds up or can it be considered as obsolete? Let's find out in this episode of CinemaSpace4K. This smartphone was released in 2017. A whole 7 years has passed, but that doesn't change the fact that this is one hell of a super cool looking device. Aesthetic wise, I'm yet to find a smartphone that's better than this. When we compare to modern smartphones, there is no edge-to-edge display with display cutout, but in this case, with a silver bezel on the top and bottom. It's actually appealing instead of being a turn-off. Take a look at the dual front-facing stereo speakers. While it's not that great compared to the latest smartphone speakers, but it produces loud crisp sound directly to you instead of facing away like bottom-firing ones. Another impressive thing is the notification LED that can glow in any color, along with a 13 megapixel f2 front-facing camera which does not obstruct your display unlike newer smartphones. There's also a proper proximity sensor as well. This one is not as narrow as new phones because of its 16:9 display. Holding the phone is not that comfortable and it's definitely a two-handed device. But little things like the loop surface design, slim form factor and the concealed camera module makes the device sleek. Oh, I forgot to mention the display. This display panel was truly ahead of time. This is the sharpest display ever put on a smartphone. The Sony Xperia XZ Premium sports a 5.46 inches 4K HDR 120Hz IPS LCD display. But that 120Hz feature is inaccessible as it's locked in the firmware itself. In reality, this smartphone screen refreshes 60 times a second, the same as the latest iPhone 15 and 15 Plus. Sony was so ahead of time by providing a 60Hz display, which even the latest iPhone is using. The 4K resolution is a feature that even the sharpest eyes can distinguish between a 1440p one. It's so sharp that you can never spot individual pixels without using a magnifier. The display is plenty bright, has great contrast and color reproduction, and many people confuse it for an OLED display. Moving on to the little things that make this great. There's a SIM tray that can take either 2 physical SIM cards or 1 SIM card and a microSD card. Cool thing is that you don't require a tool to take it out, a fingernail will suffice. Take a look at this small port here. This port is called a 3.5mm headphone jack. For people who are not familiar with this port allows us to connect earphones and headphones that comes with a wire. And these type of headphones are called wired headphones and does not require periodic recharging. Another best part is that many wired earphones costing just 4,000 rupees or $50 sounds much better than a 5 times more expensive Apple AirPods. How is that? I hate the greedy, selfish Apple company for starting the trend of removing the headphone jack. All their stupid, foolish fans can go to hell. And here's another thing iPhone users are jealous of: the fingerprint scanner. This side-mounted fingerprint scanner is super quick and turns on only when the button is pressed, which makes it more durable than ones that's active all the time, like the ones present on newer Sony phones. Look at the super cool animation as well. Then there's the USB Type-C port that's capable of USB 3.2 Gen 1 high-speed data transfers. And this camera button that is half press to focus and full press to capture like a dedicated camera. You can also quick launch the camera by holding this button while the phone is sleeping, for example. And when it comes to cameras, it's a mixed bag. Let's start from the positives. Look at the camera module along with a laser autofocus system, color sensor for accurate white balancing, and the usual LED flash. This 19 megapixel motion eye camera captures some of the most natural looking photos. There's no overprocessing or over dynamic range like what you get with modern phones. Photos have a very pleasing natural tone. Even though the photo resolution is higher than almost all new phones, lack of a dedicated telephoto lens means that zoomed photos lack details. Another place where new phones will surpass it is when it comes to video. Daylight videos also exhibit the same good features of photos. The stabilization at 4K leaves a bit more desired. There's no optical image stabilization. There's no 4K 60fps support. Electronic image stabilization somewhat works, but even that falls apart when light goes down. But the low-light photos surprised me. It retains the same natural look as daylight photos. There's no artificial boosting of light and the scene appears exactly like what my own eyes saw. A mind-blowing feature of this phone is the whopping 960fps super slow-mo capture. This is the first smartphone ever to come up with a super slow motion feature. The 720p 960fps videos are damn amazing if there's plenty of light. Unfortunately, it was cloudy when I took this video. It took Samsung 1 year to catch up with their Galaxy S9 in 2018 and iPhones are yet to have it. Poor Apple. With software update, Sony made this capable of shooting 960 frames per second at full HD resolution. That's super awesome considering Samsung took 6 whole years to catch up with their Galaxy S23 in 2023. And Apple users can just be sad at this point. Not even the latest iPhone 15 can capture the super slow-mo even at 720p, let alone 1080p. What an embarrassment. Not to forget that there is continuous slow motion video capture at 120fps in HD as well. Look, there's a mirror on the back. This is a glass sandwich design, but it doesn't have wireless charging functionality. There are no visible antenna bands as the top and bottom aluminum blocks act as antenna and the signal reception is pretty good. The sides are plastic and was glossy silver originally. The silver paint eventually went off, giving this matte white look on the sides. But how's the phone for actual usage? Sony's skin is pretty close to stock Android with some cool things such as this dynamic wallpaper that's so nice. It turns red when battery capacity dips below 15%. Android 9 may be a letdown for many, but all of the apps and games I play run without an issue, handled by Snapdragon 835 system on chip and 4GB of RAM. It's not that responsive as newer devices, but it's not unusable either. The 30-30mAh battery may seem pretty low for a 4K resolution smartphone in the first glance, but it outperformed my Galaxy S20 with a 4000mAh battery. I didn't charge this device in 2 weeks, and with mid usage, it easily lasts 2 full days. Isn't that amazing? So what's the verdict? 7 years is way too less of a time for a smartphone to become outdated. I won't be sad a bit if I use this smartphone as my primary in 2024. In fact, that's what I'm planning to do in the near future. This is powerful enough for my task. Camera's naturality compensates for the lack of dedicated lenses and advanced image processing for me. Battery beats even 2024 devices. And the design will never get obsolete. This is one hell of a super cool looking device. Whew, that was a long review. Yes, I am biased, but still it's so underappreciated that some biasness won't harm. Thanks to everyone for watching till the end. Extremely sorry for not uploading consistently, as now I am required to spend a lot of time for studies. And no, I haven't used ChatGPT to write this. Every single word spoken on this review was typed word by word with my own hand in my own style from my personal experience. I am so excited to switch to a Sony phone, preferably a Xperia 1 Mark III as soon as possible. This cool place and everything I have right now, life is so good. Thanks to everyone for your support. I'll catch you in another super exciting video. This is CinemaSpace4K signing off.